one of my absolute favorite maps in the top middle position as the blue Terran. It is Liquid's TaeJa. And the guy that took him out last game, spawning in the bottom middle, it is the red Zerg, Gamania Zen. And I love this remake of Destination. Such a beautiful map. That's what it is. For those of you that don't know, StarCraft Brood War map. Kind of like a port to it, I would say.
If you don't know what map that is, this is that map. Just
Yeah.
in SU1.
You know, I'm still working out how this map actually operates, and the reason why that is because the bottom left-hand base is such like an unknown, I think, to even a lot of the pro players these days. But I feel like this throws a huge wrench. I've seen this become a third base, a fourth base, a fifth base. So many different ways to actually play out the map. But go ahead.
At some point, it does become a base, though. Is I think the point
Yes.
I'm trying to get across.
But some people really prioritize, Terrans or Zergs prioritize in killing these rocks really quickly and then killing these rocks to take this base. It's a lot safer. And from there, if you're going up against a Muta player in your Terran, like, you don't really have to worry about defending a lot of positions because you're pretty much covered. If you want Mutas to fly in all the way back here, you're basically saying, well, please attack me anywhere you want to.
You can do a run-by, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
But how do you kind of figure this base, the top right and bottom left-hand expansions to come out?
I think it actually favors Zerg more than it favors Terran, because usually as Zerg, you'll take that as your fourth or fifth base, and a lot of the time in ZVT, Terran wants to pressure that base of the Zerg player, and in this position, it's kind of difficult to do it.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Normally the fourth base is such a huge part of contention, but because it's so safe, you can still just build your creep at your third base area and always have those consistent Baneling connections. The other part I want to talk about the map is how it's kind of split down the middle, and you have to choose a lot of the times, if you're Terran or Zerg, where you want to spread your creep and where you want to deny the creep. You can't really do both at the same time because you're spreading yourself a little bit too thin. But we'll get into that as mid-game approaches. We see a very standard opening here from Liquid TaeJa as he is going for a double Reaper opening, a little bit different from Heart. He's going to start pressuring up on Sen, who is going the regular hatchery into very fast gas. So he is changing it up, but this is within standard, reasonable builds. Reaper getting in here, starting to do damage against the first drone. Drone will be turned into an extractor just to save it. 4 Zerglings are out to just skirt this Reaper away. It won't get to do any damage, but round 2 will prove to be potentially somewhere where he has a higher probability to do something. Round 2 with the second Reaper, that is. Queen's about to be out here pretty soon, and oh, he almost got the first drone, but it gets turned into an extractor very quickly. Nice heads-up play by our Zerg player, Sen. Second Reaper approaching in here. Command center directly behind this, along with that, a third command center. Really interesting. He has not opted to take any workers off gas either.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what he has in mind. It looks kind of standard right now from TaeJa. From Sen, we'll still have to see.
Oh, and TaeJa loses one of the Reapers. Very uncharacteristic of his micro. Normally he's so crisp and clean with that. But losing one of the Reapers actually hurts you quite a bit. You need that extra DPS to whittle down or you know, kind of stop a Zerg from taking a super fast third base. Now Sen can go at the 6-minute mark, push out, take a third, and know that there's not enough DPS out there. Fun fact, a Reaper actually has more DPS against building structures than a Marine does. So it helps out incredibly well. Obviously that extra DPS is needed to stop a hatchery from going up and even deny creep as best as possible and tank damage in the very early stages. Speed is up for Sen, and again a Roach Warren. Is this just like his go-to style?
It looks like it could definitely be that. I think, judging by this drone going to take a third now, it's just going to be for that defensive 5 Roaches again. And a lot of players don't like to do this because with your quick Queens, you can defend against the Hellions without having any Roaches. But it does help you, and it can kind of fool Terran sometimes into thinking you're going to own them.
Yeah. And we've seen this even in your playstyle, Ghost User. I mean, a lot of times you'll go Roaches just to confuse it, confuse your opponent in like a best of series. So at any time you could be doing that all in. So if you're not preparing, try and play a little bit greedy. You're going to get punished one of these times, especially TaeJa. But we can see him playing very standard. Again, double barracks before double E-base. I love this. I really, really hate to see double E-base always being chosen by some of these Terrans. It's just such a greedy way to play it out. But Roaches are going to approach here and defend the queen, making sure that creep spread is going to maintain. Third position is chosen in the mid left-hand position rather than this position in front of the main base and the natural. Important to note. I think it's a much stronger and safer way to actually expand, though.
It might actually favor TaeJa a little bit, though, because judging by the position of his third command center, looks like he might want to take that base for his third base. And that can kind of lend itself to pushing easily against Sen's third base.
Yeah, that's very true. Interesting. Like, when 2-2 hits for Zerg, though, isn't that a position where it can be easily thwarted, even though it's like a 1-minute timing? You can normally take advantage of a lot of Terrans in that position?
It'll definitely help, but if he pushes, like, maybe with 1-1, I don't think Sen should have 2-2 by then, and it can still work out pretty well.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, you can see 1-1 is just about equal for both these players. The Orbital Command Center is going to float over to that third position that we were talking about, and the Overlord is there to spot it out. Not going to be denied with anything like with Overlord creep, so Lair isn't even finished in time. Baneling Nest again being put down here, and we're going to see a very standard Sen here on out, getting 5th and 6th gases. TaeJa, on the other hand, is mounting his assault. He's just now preparing his medevacs as they're moving on over, and this is the classic timing that we normally see. You get your medevacs out around 10:30 to 11 minutes. That's when your +1-1 normally finishes, although this is going to be a little bit later because of his opening, but still you're going to be able to do a little bit of damage on the field like this.
Sen actually is in a lot of trouble right now. These are his only units.
Oh, yeah. And 10 Roaches are in production right now. Hydralisk Den going to be produced here. And that's a lot of drones to be on the third base. Oh, nice connections with the Hellions. Can he keep going? The drones are forced to actually attack against Hellions, and this kind of looks really bad. Third base does go down, and Sen getting punished very heavily here by a very standard push, I would say.
Yeah, I just think he didn't expect TaeJa to attack them, and I'm not sure why. It is pretty standard play. I think he had his Roaches, and he just kind of fell into the trap of assuming they can defend anything, and they can't.
Yeah, I mean, even Marine, Stim is going to finish around 9 minutes to 10 minutes, so you have to be careful in that phase. Even though it's a little bit risky, I would say, for TaeJa, if he does lose those Marines, all of a sudden that investment that you put into getting the medevacs becomes null and void, right? You can't really use your medevacs if you have no units to heal. And that can be a big problem, but we can see a big drop going into the main base. Hydralisk Den is producing a couple Hydras. Well, not actually Hydras, but you guys know what I mean. Marines also denying creep, and here we go, the attack in the main base. Can Sen actually fend this off? This looks like it's too much. He might even have to pull a couple of drones. Sen losing all of his Roaches and potentially his Hydras. Stim Marines pushing on in, killing a Queen and a couple of these Hydras. Sen, I think, is dead.
I think he can maybe defend with his reinforcements, but he lost all his Hydras.
Yeah, I mean, where do you even go from here? The third base is still under attack as another drop getting over here to kill off the Queen. There it is. Sen gonna GG out.